Oh shoot. Are we on any servers right now?
Yeah, we are. I'm at 44 now. I don't know, it was just weird. It like spiked up all the way to 200 and then it went down so fast. We should be good though. Alright, so first map of the day, Junkertown. This is the map where a lot of different comps can be played as well as a lot of different characters. Right into the Bastion, also run the Widowmaker. Double shield tanks for the Bastion, you know, the Orisa Ryan.
That's true. This is also a map where you see some interesting defensive strategies. A lot of variation between the different teams. I've seen some Genjis hide over here in this back right corner, get some early picks. Sometimes they'll set up off to the side. So we'll see here. We've got red team Goliath is on attack, and Hanamura Cherry Blossoms on defense.
And we got Kid Hub playing DPS today. He has been a pretty strong flex for this team. Showed us a very good Zarya last week, as well as the Soldier and Tracer. Starting out here on Soldier, going to be trying to hold down this high ground, I would imagine, but this team setting up forward on the defense. We do see Goliath looking like they're going to go right around back, see right through that strategy, and get on top of them immediately. So this fight is happening in very close quarters. Swerve manages to find that pick on the Toothless. Kid Hub coming right back, though, with a kill on the Bonezo. And, I mean, it's still breaking down here in this mid-fight, but it looks like it's going to favor the attackers. Goliath should be able to come out on top from this fight.
That's right. Blue team was set up in this room, waiting patiently, and then it's almost like Fladstern just walked in on them while they're having a secret meeting. They're going to have to go ahead and get out of there, and Winston from the defense is going to leap to his death and reset there. So I have not seen that defensive strategy before, hiding up in that room, and it didn't seem to work for Cherry Blossoms there on that first push.
And losing that fight, now losing a lot of positioning too, as Goliath is going to be able to set up, watching all of these angles, watching the, you know, narrow entry points that they have available to him. We do see HCB coming back in, but already taking some damage from this Widowmaker. Swerve in the back, getting close to the infra sites here, but getting pressured very heavily by Mace Kai. Might be taken out here, and I mean, is actually having to fight for his life. So we do see HCB coming back in and trying to get reestablished, but Bonza with the blade, trying to keep it going for him.
That's right, a couple like 3 ults coming out there. Primal Rage knocking him around, the Genji Blade as you pointed out, the Diva Bomb, but now everyone's fighting on the payload. A couple picks coming out from Cherry Blossoms here, able to get some stability on this point, and they've definitely got the advantage in this fight. They're going to push Flagstern out of the mech, and he's going to jump off the cliff, and now attacking team's going to have to reset here. So good hold there from Cherry Blossoms, able to regain the momentum.
And a couple of important ults held on to there as well. They got the EMP from Toothless Lion, and then Ace Leonon holding on to the sound barrier as well. So they're going to need that EMP. They do see the Valkyrie coming in from the Treek here, but going to be answered by that EMP, so nobody on Goliath able to take advantage of any sort of abilities. Staying alive anyways, though, as Treek was able to get the Valkyrie off beforehand. So a bunch of ultimates used by both squads, but no real purchase found just yet. Katrick does go down to a random Diva Bomb, though, Mace finding that pick, and it looks like still the defense able to hold on for the time being, but no ultimates available for either side, so
that's right.
It is down to the frags.
Both teams probably would want some of those ults back, as the EMP came out only after Valkyrie and Primal Range had been popped, so a long sustained fight there, and it really took all those ultimates wearing off before Cherry Blossoms was able to get any picks, but they were able to force defense back. So they've got down to a minute now. It looked like they had some good momentum to start with, but it's been nothing since then. So here comes the Pharah. Swap going to get some distance created there, getting some good angles on those rockets. Allows the team to get onto the payload here. And here comes Genji Blade coming out. Does get Ace Trainer, so that's one support down. They've got a support advantage. He's chasing the Mercy, is unable to get her. Primal Rage coming out from the defending team is going to knock him off the payload here. And this fight's getting spread out pretty quick, so we'll see who's able to get these picks here. Pharmacy's up in the sky, launching a lot of damage down. And Mercy's healing up the different targets. Mercy's low, though, and Mercy actually falls from the attacking team, but it looks like both teams now trading some kills here, but this is probably going to favor Cherry Blossoms.
AJ doing such a good job of stalling though, and right now very close to going down constantly, but manages to get back to this health pack and stay alive here. That's what he's been doing for this entire fight, and this payload has not moved forward as much as they wanted to. So now Coalescence coming in at the very end, but shut down by that EMP. A huge ultimate there by Toothless Loud, finishing the job, taking out Battle Sheep, finishing the Pharah in the air as well, and that is going to be a huge defensive hold from Hanamura Cherry Blossoms.
Indeed. It looked a little wavery at times there, but they really never lost control of that payload after that initial push. So that's a good hold from Cherry Blossoms on Junkertown. Point A is tough to hold. Most teams are satisfied just getting it to overtime and taking that first checkpoint. But they say, no sir, you guys are going to stay put right here.
Deathball, you're in here
Yes.
for analysis, right? Yeah, go ahead. You're going to say something.
It was interesting to see that neither team decided to run the Bastion. Considering Bastion is very dominant on this map, depending on your positioning and how you play him, but assuming that the DPS for both sides don't have that much experience with Bastion, they decided not to run him. And it looks like maybe both teams are going to be running the Hanzo. Very interesting.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I was somewhat, I guess, surprised to not see the Bastion, but, you know, as that meta has evolved a little bit, we've seen less and less of the Bastion being like a necessary pick here on Junkertown. People have learned how to deal with it a little better, but, and it's also, once Goliath made the decision not to run the Bastion right off, they can't really switch to a Bastion afterwards, you know, like you can't try to bring a Bastion in once the enemy team has already won a fight or two against you and expect that to help you punch through. It's, you know, just probably not gonna be what it takes to do so. So I mean, I think Goliath, like once they decided not to do it right off the bat, they already had kind of closed the door on that, and unfortunately weren't able to make it work with the dive that they were running. But now on the defense, they still have a chance. They've just got to play out of their minds here on the D.
Yes, they do, and unless we see some late switches from Cherry Blossoms, looks like they're not going to play that Bastion either. But Widowmaker, in the hands of a skilled player, can do a lot of damage, a lot of open sight lines here. So here they come, they're onto the payload, pushing it. Early pick from Bonzo, gets Toothless out of this fight on that Widowmaker, going to fall early. And a lot of damage coming out here, just trading back and forth while the payload gets pushed slowly, but they've still got this high ground on the defense. And so far, no one's forcing them to change their position here. But as this payload progresses, and the Ace Trainer, while I'm talking, gets picked off by that Roadhog. Diva's going to go and dive over the top. Mercy's going to res Ace Trainer, get him back into the fight. So Rez is out for the remainder of this fight. Roadhog does get the D-Mic, and Hanzo's going to get the Winston here. So Goliath is making a good stand here. They lose one of their supports, though. This Hanzo's up on the high ground. He's going to get chased off by the other Hanzo.
Yeah, Bonzo taken down there by Toothless, but I mean, Swerve's there to finish the job. At this point, Bonzo very close to his Dragon Strike here, so going to have that ultimate up most likely for the next fight. Has been putting out pretty consistent damage, and a very important thing that he's been doing is keeping Kid Hub on arm's length. Now Kid Hub actually swapping onto Zarya to try to be a little bit more effective. Wasn't getting much done on the Tracer with the fear of the arrow catching him in the head. Now, you know, Bonzo coming out on top of that 1v1 with the Dragon Strike. Gets a nice scatter arrow there onto AJ, taking out that main tank here. And it looks like it's going to be a big hold here for Goliath. Bonzo managing to do a lot of work on the Hanzo so far in this defense.
That's right. He looks like he aimed his ult a little bit low, only able to get the one pick, but he made up for it with his regular arrows. Got 2 additional kills there, and he's retaken high ground. Damage boosted Hanzo is a nightmare for a lot of us, especially with that scatter arrow still in the game. We'll see if Kaplan nerfs him after all. So they're gonna make another attempt here at pushing this payload. Seems like both teams have had trouble making early progress on Junkertown here.
This Hanzo 1v1 that's happening throughout this attack right now is super intense. We do see the Earthshatter coming in, managing to knock down Swerve, but holy cow, Swerve surviving a charge, managing to stay alive way longer than you would expect. Yeah, with that sound barrier, but the Diva Bomb from Mace Guy gonna be able to blast straight through those shields, and finally HCB coming out on top there.
Very great timing on that Diva Bomb.
Cherry Blossoms taking the map.
Absolutely.
Very decisive fashion.
They waited for that team fight to break out. All those squishes are out in the open, and Mace Guy says, "Don't mind me, I'm just going to launch this bomb into the middle of this fight." And no one had any time to get out of there. Great timing.
Yeah, the awesome thing that was happening there off screen was Swerve got hammered down, got a sound barrier, so had a whole bunch of extra.
Goliath still red, or did they switch up?
Goliath is blue now.
Okay.
Yeah, Goliath gonna be setting up on the defense here. Bonzo already, he's one of those people I was talking about who's already scary on the May, and this is a map where we're definitely gonna see a lot of what Bonzo can do here. Hopefully they're able to put up a little bit better of a show on the defense than they were able to last time. But Toothless Lion on the Doomfist as well, so we've got a couple of these kind of niche picks coming out from both teams. Gonna make for some interesting gameplay here for sure.
So Cherry Blossoms pushed up into the right and forced Goliath back onto the point. Now Farah and co are spreading out the fight here, forcing them to defend from different angles, and that allows the dive to come in. So now we've got a brawl going on the point. A lot of damage coming out, but a lot of good healing being done. And Nipple MLG gets Toothless Lion off of that Doomfist, but they lose their Lucio early on in this fight. And now the picks coming out in the favor of Goliath, but the res coming back for Cherry Blossoms. So it looks like they're going to be able to turn this fight back around.
Swerve being taken down early on there means that there's no answer for this Farah Mercy. Arasan just up in the air. This is why he's been brought in, I would imagine, is to provide the strong Farah. Now getting that nice two-shot onto Katrik, removing the Coalescence from the fight, and moving on forward. Has this rocket barrage available. Definitely not going to need to use it, but HCB getting that payload unlocked, now pushing forward, trying to get a little bit of this positioning unlocked as well. And basically right now, Arasan trying to deny this high ground from Swerves, managed to get that kill, and does so. So it does look like HCB coming out on top so far in this next fight as well. Both supports down from that rocket barrage.
That looked like to be a very worthwhile res there. Just completely decimates this defense that Goliath had set up. And fortunately, Hanamura Cherry Blossoms did remember to leave someone on the payload, so it's moving. Not a lot of players do that in matchmaking. Not a lot of people know what the payload is. But here we go. We've got Cherry Blossom's going to set up right outside the spawn, and it pays off. They get that pick on Battleship and Swerve off the Widow. So 2 early picks there is going to allow them to get a lot of progress on the fight.
Yeah, and allow them to not use any more ultimates either. I mean, they came into that fight with the Space Jam. That's all I usually call it, the Seismic Slam from Doomfist, but now coming in here, they still have the self-destruct, they still have the Valkyrie available, and on the other side, no ults on board for Goliath. They're going to be coming out here trying to do things dry, and I don't know how that's going to work out for them here. Base looking to set up a bomb like last game.
Bonzo stuck around a little bit too long there, so it gave them an even longer stagger. And the Valkyrie and Soundbarrier are coming out, both support ults. I wonder if that was intentional. We'll see if they can make the most of it. Diva Bomb coming out here trying to get some kills. And it looks like Cherry Blossoms is just pushing this in. Seems like Goliath can't seem to get any kills here. Some of these fights are sustained, but no kill feed is all Cherry Blossoms for now. Diva does fall.
A lot of blue in this feed, and that is going to be that. We do see, or sorry, blue on the wrong side of the feed rather. We do see HCB coming on through, getting into this final stage, and again holding on to ultimates while they do it. Battleship does have this sound barrier. There is the Valkyrie available for Katrik, so I mean, a couple of ults are up for this defense. They're going to pop the Valkyrie immediately, as well as the Meteor Strike coming in. Both Meteor Strikes coming in now. But Bonzo unable to find anything with his, and he's going to be taken down. The damage coming in from HCB, and it looks like they're finding the kills, but Battleship with one of his own So it is still breaking down. It looks like it might be coming in the favor of the defense a little bit here, but still a lot of people available for both sides.
That's
Like,
right.
no,
A lot of
yeah.
ults being used there, but it's tough to push on this final checkpoint here. The defender's advantage is so strong, how close that spawn is. So they really would have liked to get a pick advantage in that fight, so that's why they backed out there. And here comes the sound barrier. They're going to fully dive in here now, and it pays off. They get both supports from the defense, so it's a matter of cleanup duty here if they can stay alive. They do lose Ace Trainer on that Lucio, but they've got their Mercy still in play, and they get 2 more kills, and the Reds comes out, so now they're at full strength and riding this payload around the final bend. Let's see if defense has what it takes to stop them here once and for all.
Yeah, Swerve's doing a good job of stalling out as long as possible, but he does go down there, and Battle Chief as well. We are seeing a little bit of this, the final stall from Goliath, but they don't really have much left in the tank. Vlad manages to get the 1 pick with that ultimate, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, as there's just way too many members of HCB still left alive here. We do see the Primal Rage coming in.
Yeah. Right, a good stall from him coming out. Although Farah now gets a double kill, but the Winston is still alive on this point. Now he's got a Mercy healing him, so the defense is able to recover based on that stall. And Meep MLG is just going off here. Really saved the defense here. Gave him another shot at life.
Yeah, definitely that Primal Rage coming in, getting the Diva out of mech, and managing to follow up with a kill onto I believe the other DPS as well, taking out that very important source of damage here. Now Swerve getting the kill onto AJ, removing the main tank from the equation as well. I mean, this is really all Goliath needs to do at this point. They may end up losing some members here over time, but they're holding on to the objective. They're not allowing it to move any further forward. And, they're winning the fight. Now, we see Katrik going down, or sorry, Shadow going down in the corner. It's basically everything's falling apart after a little bit of the fight here for HCB. They're unable to sustain and push all the way through to the end. Now they've only got a couple opportunities left.
Yeah, I did use his sound barrier there at the end. I feel like the fight was already over, so he may want that one back. But Meep MLG does have that Primal Rage in pocket again. And Aerosan switched over to the Zarya, and AJ switched onto the Reinhardt. So a little more consistent shield uptime and positioning advantage on that shield. Maybe stop some of these self-destructs that have knocked out some of their supports in the past. But here we go. Both teams are meeting head-to-head in front of the payload. Reinhardt pushing up the middle with his shield out. Team is behind him, just launching damage through that barrier. Bubble coming out on the Reinhardt allows him to start swinging that hammer, and Doomfist is wreaking havoc in this backline. He comes out with his ult and gets Mei demagged, and a pulse bomb on the Lucio, counter pulse bomb. But blue team here, Goliath, really pushed him back immediately there.
Swerve managing to find the kill onto his counterpart before even getting melted there by Aerosan, but Swerve's doing a lot of really good work on this Tracer. Now Bonzo actually on the Reaper, Swerve's onto Tracer, or onto McCree rather, so they're trying to answer this aggression, answer these strong tanks coming out now. Toothley is swapping onto McCree as well, so some last minute swaps were in from both teams as they try to figure each other out, try to outmaneuver the other side. And we do see the coalescence now coming in from Katrik. There is Macekai throwing in the self-destruct. Both self-destructs going in, both finding 2. This fight still completely even. Shadowcat getting that resurrect onto Toothley, who needs to be alive if they want to have a consistent source of damage coming in here. He's doing his best to charge up the Deadeye. Now dealing with this Primal Raging Winston and getting a whole bunch of damage in, but it's Bonzo who manages to find the kill onto the tank. This is looking like it might be a defensive hold here.
Reinhardt was able to get a stun with his ultimate, but he missed the pin, and Primal Rage again just knocking everyone around, and after he missed that charge, he's killed off by the Reaper. Swerve with the Deadeye coming out, one-upping Toothless there and getting 2 kills to his 1, so this payload still is waiting at this final bend. They haven't pushed it forward overtime, so red team has to stay on the point here, but it's a 2v5 here, and the Winston bubble is going to keep them alive here. Now Reinhardt gets off the point, but he falls anyway. Tracer still maintains a presence, but not enough, as that overtime ticks down so quickly the longer it's going on. So great Great hold there by Goliath at that final bend. That's a tough one to get, but they held it there. Stopped Hanamura Cherry Blossoms from what looked like an unstoppable attack.
Oh, looks like we have a DQ. I mean disconnect, DC.
DC, yeah.
DC.
A little less
DQ
severe.
disqualified. My bad.
No, DQ is Dairy Queen, man.
Dude, I heard
from
that and I was
Texas?
like, what happened?
No, I'm from. I was born in North Carolina, so I know.
Alright, so Cherry Blossoms is now on defense, and Goliath is on attack, right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Goliath definitely hoping to have a more impressive attack than they had on Junkertown, to say the least. HCB, you know, if they're able to put up the same defense, well, okay, HCB giving us the Skybound special right now, but yeah, if they're able to put up the same defense as they did on Junkertown, then you know, they are definitely setting themselves up very well with that attack. Arrow jumping off again. He's not done.
Looks like they're trying to trick the attacking team into thinking they know what the team comp is going to be, which works in less than 1% of games, but you never know. Could be some foolish, naive players on Goliath. So we'll see. 10 seconds left as Goliath awaits their chance to push the payload as far as Cherry Blossoms did, and hopefully, for the sake of ongoing competition, a little bit farther, take us to that third map.
Arrow just going to be peeking over the top, laying in some damage boosted rockets onto this team as they come out of spawn. Finds a couple, but Swerves on a Pharah of his own, has a Mercy of his own. So this aerial battle is going to take off here. We'll see who comes out on top. Arrow definitely has more time on Pharah throughout the past, but now he's going to be focusing on Bonezo instead, trying to get rid of this other DPS, remove another threat from his team, and doing so for the time being. But it's actually Flad who manages to find this kill onto AJ and open things up a little bit here for Goliath.
So a great push by Goliath here, both pharmacies going at it, and it seemed like no one was going to die for the longest time there, but really great support. Allowed both teams to fight for a long time until the picks started coming in to favor Goliath, and they've gotten all the picks so far. They're going to go ahead and take this first point. Pharmacy's going to push up ahead and just zone them back a little bit. They're going to have to retreat all the way to the bridge there as we wait for this payload to get pushed through these doors. Always takes a little bit of time for that to happen. Red team's going to set up on the high ground to form their defense here.
And Swerves finding a lot of these damage boosted rockets over the top right now, making it very difficult for HCB to get set up on this high ground, but they do so. They've got Toothless Lion on the McCree with this Deadeye available now, so he is going to be able to pick out this Pharah Mercy from the sky very easily if he presses the button at the right time, but it's going to be tough. Aeroson with the Rocket Barrage as well, but there's Swerve who gets picked out. He's not going to be able to use that Rocket Barrage of his. Arrow uses his own and finds that pick onto Battle Sheep, so it's looking like HCB going to be able to hold this fight with just a couple of ults invested there, holding on to a couple for next fight.
So meanwhile, Goliath has all 6 of their ults, and Swerve gets that nice shot on Arrow. Takes that Pharah out of the fight coming up here, so now it's a 6v5. They're going to jump onto the payload here, push up a little bit ahead, and there's no one on the payload there. There they go. D.Va hops onto it, keeps it going. So half the team's pushing up here. Meat better be careful. He's going to pop Primal Rage to continue disrupting them, and perhaps he was about to get picked there. He took a lot of damage. Swerve uses his ult, takes out Mercy, and now McCree falls as well. Swerve does lose his life, but now attacking team is able to make a lot of progress here, and they're continuing to keep them pinned inside the castle walls as the payload approaches the gates.
Yeah, HCB though doing a good job getting this regroup here. They are going to throw out their self-destruct onto the point, not finding anything with it though, and they're going to have to deal with Bonezo's Dragon Blade as they come out the door, managing to find Shadowcat. However, you know, is going to be taken down. A couple of kills still coming in for Goliath. HCB trying to hold on right now. AJ popping this Primal Rage, doing everything he can for his team, but they are falling around him one by one. And, you know, try as he might, he can't keep them all alive. Does manage to take down Bonezo, now trying to get onto Katrik as well. AJ is actually single-handedly carrying this fight, keeping that payload contested and finding the kills there, waiting for his team to come back. They've managed to do it.
So MIP had that great bubble anticipating that D.Va self-destruct and actually saved some lives there on that first push from defense. And it looked like after getting a few kills, they were able to they were going to be able to take over that payload, but the defense just so pesky, staying alive and eventually turning the tide of that battle as the defenders' spawn advantage allowed them to get back on point and kill a lot of these attacking players, eventually forcing them all away here. And now the fight is back on. Both teams jumping in and around the payload here. Primal Rage just going crazy, knocking people off the edge here. Let's see if Lucio can get back on. He does. He's able to get back onto the payload here. And now Red Team's got a strong presence. D.Va Bomb coming out, going to force these players off the edge here. Getting them out of the fight temporarily. And they may be able to push this while the team's off the payload here. Red Team's still sitting on the payload. Blue Team's fighting back on the bridge.
Swerves with so much room to breathe right now. Doesn't really have anyone who's able to challenge him. Mace Guy tried, but he was all alone, and he just got completely shut down by Swerves and Bonezo, who are in the back here. So Swerves with these long sight lines, able to find a lot of damage. Now going to have to, you know, sit back, wait for this Deadeye, wait for this Riptire to come out. And it looks like off of those ultimates, we're definitely going to see another hold from Hanamura Cherry Blossoms, but it's not completely a waste for Goliath as they get the mech and they get AJ on their way out. So they might be able to make a push back in here. They have a couple of ults available as well. Bonezo with the Deadeye and the self-destruct from Flad. You know, could get an opening here, but a few ultimates available as well on the other side.
Yeah, AJ's got that Primal Rage in his back pocket, and from what I've seen, the attacking team should be absolutely terrified of that. They may want to think of some way they can get him out of the fight early. He's just been so good at pushing people, zoning people, and getting those picks. So they've got less than a minute left here to push it to the second payload, and then they've still got a lot of work to do inside the castle if they're able to get that. So the D.Va Bomb coming out, huge Deadeye from Bonezo, gets a triple kill and the D-Max. So I don't know what to say if they're able to push this to the second point. They should have no problem here though.
Yeah, that was absolutely a massive Deadeye there from Bonezo. I'm not sure what the deal was with Mace Kai and AJ. Neither one of them were able to get on top of them and block that damage from coming through. So, unfortunate situation. HCB just caught a little bit with their pants down. Now they are kind of up against the wall here. You know, they would definitely prefer to take this 2-0 and get out of here now, but you know, might be up against a challenge right now. Mace Kai finding that kill onto Battle Sheep though does give them a definite advantage in this fight. And yeah, Swerve going down mid barrage, not going to help them. So it looks like HCB able to hold on for now.
Does get the pick on the Winston there, but when you're this close to the defender's spawn point, it's almost pointless here. And I was going to wonder if Swerve is going to switch off, and he does. He picks up that McCree. They're down to a little over a minute here as both teams are charging up main here. Going to meet right on the payload. It looks like defense is going to back up around the corner, give them a little bit of room here and take that to better position on the part of the defense. And then pulls D.Va Bomb coming in here. Winston drops his bubble, is able to stop that. So heads up play there from MLG there. And Toothless Lion, triple kill without his ult. Goes ahead and pops it and gets the Mercy. So great play from that DPS.
Taking the D.Va out of mech as well. Toothless did not need to pop that Dragon Blade for sure, but just for style points. You know, now 30 seconds rather left on the clock here. For Goliath, they do have a couple of ults. Both teams sitting on 2 right now, but the Valkyrie is available for Shadowcat. Katrik coming up very close on it. This Pack Visor now coming in from Aeroson, trying to zone them out, but he himself getting taken down by a huge self-destruct rather from Vlad. The contest is still on from AJ, who's close to the primal rage, but not managing to get it in time. Payload is going to roll forward, and this might be it here for Goliath.
So 2 tank ults there, and their red team gets back on just in time. Let's see if they can continue to win this. And a Junkrat Tire takes out Lucio. Diva's the only one on point. Here comes the Sombra. A desperate Sombra gets picked by the Lucio boop. Winston jumps in. It looks like he's going to die immediately, but no, he pops Primal Rage again. And now Genji's on point too, so great stall here from defense. AJ does fall, and Genji deflect. That's not going to be enough. Mercy's here just saying, what's up? You mind if you go ahead and kill me there? And Pulse Pump comes out, takes out the Lucio. And great last push there by Goliath.
1-1. We're taking it to a map 3. What is it, Ilios?
Play of the game.
Yep, Ilios.
Ilios.
Santorini.
Beautiful.
Massive Deadeye there from Bonzo. Probably a game winning. Yeah, very, very good stalling ultimate, and then AJ definitely used it to, AJ and Maple, really both, that last game, used it to great effect. Maybe just a little bit better, you know, especially on that 3rd stage. Very good main tank play coming in this game. But yeah, on to Ilios, and it looks like we are going to see Kid Hub come back in here. The Widow v Widow battle going to commence, of course, here as Ruins is our first stage. So Toothless and Swerve going to be facing off. Both of them looking for the first pick, trying to hopefully find the other one out and give themselves a whole bunch more room to breathe. Swerve's caught out by Kid Hub though, and removed by 1 clip of those pulse pistols. Now Kid Hub also has a lot more room to breathe, getting onto Bonzo as well, and this is a clean fight win coming in from HCB. Great work from Kid Hub coming back in on the Tracer and doing some real work in this first fight.
That's right, and get that baby Diva stagger for good measure. They're going to hop back here, take the point, and probably hop out of that bowl, set up their defense here. And Goliath has some retooling to do. Maybe just shake off the nerves here. See if they can get some picks and take over the point. They're going to push up the left side here. Diva and Winston pushing up the middle. Widowmaker taking the high ground. Shots coming out from Widow, just zoning them, forcing them behind these columns. But Fair is going to launch back into the enemy lines here, and here comes the dive from the Cherry Blossoms. Gets Swerve off that Widowmaker, but Vlad's able to pick off Winston, so they're down a tank. Now it looks like Gladiators, or pardon me, Goliath is getting the picks they need. They still have to capture the point though from Cherry Blossoms, so they're fighting on point here. Looks like they've got the fight advantage, but if they don't start getting these picks, that's going to happen. Swerve falls again to a Widow.
Toothless,
they may not be able to flip this.
Shot. Threading the needle through those pillars, but I mean, it does look like Goliath still managing to find the kills over time. But I mean, yeah, as you said, AJ, you know, the longer this fight goes on, the more I'm scared of AJ. He now has this primal rage, so they're gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer. He's able to stall. That self-destruct does manage to take down Ace Trainer, so a little bit less stall is available, but the kills still coming in for Hanamura Cherry Blossoms, and AJ makes it back to the point. It looks like this is going to continue to be a hold for at least, you know, the next few percentage points here as they cross that 80% marker. A very questionable res there from Shadowcat.
There's such a huge advantage placed on being the first team to capture the point. As you saw there, Goliath all but won that team fight, but could not finish it off, so the stall was real, and they Cherry Blossom still holds on to it. Now Genji Blade ult comes out, takes Ace Trainer out of that. Lucio does fall. Vladstern gets the DMAC on the counter Diva. Now Goliath does look like they're going to finally flip this in overtime here. So 99. Red team, Cherry Blossom's going to be really happy with that. Wasted Pulse Bomb coming out from Swerve. He's going to want that one back, as there was no need to use that. Just getting a little greedy there.
Yeah, and a couple of ults available for Cherry Blossoms still. They have the Valkyrie and the Infer Sights here, so Toothless may decide to use, there it is, going to use the Infer Sights, give his team the ability to see through walls, and then Shadowcat with this Valkyrie going to pop it early, keep the team topped up and give them that bonus damage, actually pulling out the pistol herself, taking down the enemy Mercy in that 1v1. Shadowcat proven that she is the superior Mercy in this fight. And yeah, HCB getting the kills right now. Looks like they may be able to come out on top here. But that is a big pick coming in from Flad. Taking down AJ is a very important task for any sort of team here. So HCB not out of the woods just yet.
That's right, getting that Widow pick out of the fight allows you a lot more freedom of mobility. You don't have to worry about those insta-kills. So Goliath is able to push Cherry Blossoms back off the point. They get a couple extra picks for good measure. Diving, Diva's diving the Widowmaker again. Can he stagger the Widowmaker? Yes, he can. So they're going to have to wait for them to reset. They want to be at full strength before they push back in here. Meep should have his ult here on Winston. On Goliath here pretty soon. Bonzo also as well. AJ does have his Primal Rage from Cherry Blossoms, so look out. Hide your kids, hide your wives. He's going to dive here. So they're resetting here pretty soon. This should turn into a 99 versus 99, so really it's about who wins this next team fight. And they're just doing some poke damage here as they're trying to feel each other out and see who wants to initiate first. Early bubble coming out from MIP MLG. Genji Blade coming out in the back line. And he's doing a lot of damage but not getting any kills. But his teammates are, however. Mercy falls and so does Toothless lying on the Genji. Now both teams are on point fighting. Bubble coming out again. Let's look, see if it can stay up long enough to stop the self-destruct. And gets just Meep on that Winston, but no one else. Fight's still coming out here. Mercy does get the res on it. And a clutch Diva Bomb coming out from Plaid. Gets a DMAC and gets Lucio. So Goliath should take this first point after giving up 99%. I don't want to say it too soon though, because they've won team fights before that did not result in a capture point flipping. But I don't think that's going to be a problem here, and it's not. They go ahead and take that first one.
Yeah, very, very good dive being run there by the side of Goliath. They had pretty much all of the dive going on. They did have the Widow for a while coming out from Swerves, getting a lot of space created, but you know, so I think he did a lot more work at the end, just hopping onto the Tracer and then just constantly full spawn after full spawn, finding their mark and getting the damage done. So Goliath, I think, in a good position to come out on top here if they continue to fire off on all cylinders the way they did that round.
That's right. That seems like what we were missing on Junkertown is these prolonged fights that could go either way, and Goliath just wasn't getting the kills, but that's not the case of late. A lot of these fights ending with blue on red all over the kill feed. So Pharmacy coming out from Cherry Blossoms. A really favorable comp on this map. Just launching it down in this main doorway here onto the point. So the dive coming in, both teams just smashing into each other over here on Cherry Blossom's side.
And it's going to be actually Flad finding the first pick on the Kid Hub, who was in a position where he did not want to be as Soldier. Shadowcat taken down as well. And it looks like with those two picks, it's going to be Goliath with a huge advantage in this fight. Bonzo just doing the cleanup in the back lines right now. And, you know, getting pressured a little bit by Toothless himself, but they are going to find the kills, and that is going to be Goliath taking this point first and starting to build a percentage up there, trying to make the comeback in this series after a disappointing, you know, first attack, I would say, really on Junkertown. They came alive after that, but, you know, after that first attack, I think they had already kind of lost the game, but now coming into Eichenwald and then Ilios, they are looking very, very strong. That pulse bomb from Swerve finding its mark yet again, and Goliath holding strong.
Yes, Tracers, you see some of the high caliber Tracers don't mind using a pulse bomb just to get one player, especially if it's a support. You don't always have to get that awesome 3 or 4 kill play of the game. Sometimes just staggering the team is good enough. They're going to get a good 20 percentage points out of that as they forced Cherry Blossoms to reset again, and now Goliath has 50% capture on this point. So even if they lose this team fight, it's been a job well done so far on this round.
Kid Hub using this tac visor, going to try to open up the doors with that, but being met by a sound barrier on the other side. And Vlad with that self-destruct. Kid Hub's just jumping into the well. They need to reset as quickly as possible, he says, so that they can try to go in one last time here. 70% and counting on the board here for Goliath, who has a couple of ults still. They've got Meeple with the Primal Rage, and Bonzo has this Dragon Blade available. I mean, we're going to have to see a lot of work out of Toothless Lion's Rocket Barrage here, because they don't really have much else to throw at this.
And that's Heartbreak from Mace-Guy, who launched his own self-destruct straight into the well, didn't do any damage, and now he has no ult. So here goes, final fight here. 99% it's going to be, but they get that early pick on Swerve. Tracer falling from Goliath, so that's going to be good for Cherry Blossoms. Sound Barrier coming out from Cherry Blossoms. Now they're on the point here, fighting. Primal Rage coming out. Toothless ults onto Ketrick, gets that Mercy out of the fight. Kid Hub takes out Bone. Swerve is back into the fight, gets the Mercy, and MLG gets the DMEC on D.Va. D.Va falls. So now it's a it looks like a 3-on-3 here, a lot going on. Vlad gets Kid Hub off of that Tracer, but they've still got control of the point. Goliath does. They're just going to stay on point, and Farah, Toothless gets a little too high, allows them to capture that, so.
Yeah, Shadowcat holding on to that Valkyrie just a little bit too long, I think, there in the end, and let a couple of people go down when she probably could have kept them up had she popped the ult just a little bit sooner, but, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. What did happen, Goliath coming out on top and taking the series in the 2-1 after, you know, after losing the first map